Hello Year 3, it's Mrs Brooke here. Hope you're okay. Had a lovely day today on the calls. It's been brilliant to see all of you and to see how much work you put into your learning today as well. So well done to all of you. Myself and Mr Moss have both brought Land of Raw home because we want to make sure we're still reading it even though when we're at home we're not in the classroom together. So my class, we're on chapter 11. So Mr Moss's class, you might have heard this one already. I'm going to read 2 or 3 chapters because they're nice and short. So we're going to see what happens. And then if you want to, when you watch the video, you can post a little prediction and seesaw and see, we'll keep a record of what we think might happen next. So we're on chapter 11. So let's see what happens. As I walk across the garden, my heart is still thudding in my chest and my hands are trembling. I wonder how I'm going to do this. I can hear Mason's voice shrieking at Rose and bossing her around. If I just say what happened, they're going to collapse with laughter. Mason's going to think I'm sad or crazy, or both. I pull myself onto the wheelie bin. It doesn't matter, I tell myself. What matters is that Grandad is missing. I've just got to tell Rose and then she will help me find him. I look over the wall. Mason is standing with her hands on her hips watching Rose. She senses my presence and her head swivels round like a velociraptor. She gives me a long, hard look and then turns back to Rose. It's your brother, she says. Rose lands on her bum, then bounces back to her feet. What do you want, Arthur? I cling to the top of the wall. I need to speak to you. Go on then. Not here. My eyes flick to Mason. On our own. Rose rolls her eyes. Just tell me, Arthur. Grandad's disappeared, I say in a rush. Grandad's what? He's disappeared. 1 second he was in the attic, and the next he was gone. Please stop bouncing, Rose. Grandad's gone and you've got to help me find him. With a sigh, she comes to a stop. Mason stretches and says, he's probably lost in all that mess he keeps up there. All his mess is in the garden. There's nowhere to get lost in the attic now. Mason shrugs, just saying. He's a messy person. He's not messy. He's a collector. He's messy, Arthur, snaps Rose, hands on her hips. Now hurry up and tell me what happened. Grandad crawled through the camp bed. What? Why would he do that? It doesn't matter why he did it. What matters is that he crawled into the middle of the mattress and then he's disappeared. Rose doesn't look worried or shocked. In fact, she bursts out laughing. Arthur, he's playing a trick on you. Anger rises up inside me. Every second I stand here talking to Rose is another second that Grandad is missing. He's not. I was holding his hand, I felt him being pulled into the bed, and I saw his hand shoot inside. Then he must still be there. He isn't, I checked. She rolls her eyes. We'll check again. I reach into my pocket and feel the feathers and straw that I picked up before I ran out of the attic. There's something else. I leaned over the wall and opened my hand. I found this in the bed seconds after Grandad disappears. Rose takes a step closer and alarm flashes across her face. Croaky? She whispers. But then she shakes her hand. It's Grandad. He must have put them there. Really? Because I never told Grandad about Croaky. Have you? What are you two talking about? Interrupts Mason. It's nothing, says Rose. Just Arthur trying to get me to play with him. I'm so angry, I throw the feathers and straw in her face and Mason screams, Get that gross stuff off my trampoline. Rose gathers a tub and chucks it back at me. Leave me alone, Arthur. Why can't you accept that I don't want to hang out with you? My foot slips out from under me. Do you honestly think I've made this up so that you'll spend time with me? Yes, she says, making Mason laugh. Well, guess what, Rose? I don't even like you much these days, and I'm only talking to you right now because Grandad has vanished and I think Croaky has got him. Now both of them are laughing. Fine, I say, my cheeks burning. If you won't help me, I'll just have to find him on my own. I jump off the wheelie bin, slip on a rotten crabapple, scramble to my feet, then stride towards the back door. When you get to Raw, say hi to Mitch, Rose shouts. I turn around. Rose is watching me with a sarcastic smile on her face. You've changed so much, Mitch won't even recognise you, I say. Then I walk into the house and let the door slam shut behind me. Well, that didn't go very well. Rose isn't being very kind, is she? Chapter 12. Back in the attic. I stare at the camp bed. I've looked for Grandad everywhere. Even though I know he couldn't have got out of the bed, I still checked every room in the house, the cellar, the shed, and even the garage, and opening the bed isn't an option. Some truly weird stuff happened in the past hour, and I'm not about to do anything that might permanently erase my granddad. He disappeared inside the mattress, so that's where I've got to go. Trying to ignore the feathers and scraps of straw, I get down on my hands and knees, then push my head inside the bed. I want to pull it straight back out, but I keep my eyes squeezed shut and wriggle further in. "Hear me roar!" I blurt, pulling my legs up behind me. The bed wobbles, then becomes still. I'm crouched in the middle of the mattress, surrounded by darkness. It feels damp and lumpy, and it smells like a PE cupboard at school. The springs from the mattress dig into my skin, and I can't find enough air to breathe. All I want to do is get out, but I force myself to stay where I am while I wait for something to happen. When Rose and I played Raw, I'm sure this is when the game began. I don't know how it worked, but when we came out the other side, we'd be in Raw. I crouched there, the mattress pressing into my face. Until I can't stand it any longer, I crawl forward and my head bursts out into the bright light, and I gulp the fresh air. I see dusty floorboards and straw and feathers. Outside, the sun is shining, and hear Maze and Bailey laughing. I pull myself all the way out of the bed, feeling relieved and scared and stupid all at the same time. Then I walk back round to the side of the bed. Grandad is still missing, and I'm going to keep crawling through this mattress until I find him. And for the next 10 minutes, that's exactly what I do. Soon my eyes are itchy, I'm sweaty, and my hair is massive and crackling with static. I'm wriggling on the attic floor for the 32nd time when I see Rose standing in the doorway, sucking a blue ice pop and watching me. I've looked from everywhere, I say. There's only one thing left to do. She does a long, hard suck on the lolly, then says, "I admit, it's strange that he's vanished." I'm so relieved to hear she say this that I jump to my feet and rush over. "I told you, Grandad's vanished inside the bed, and somehow we've got to go there, go to Raw and get him back." She sighs. "Arthur, we never actually went to Raw. You know that, right? The whole time we were playing up here in the attic, pretending. But when we played Raw, it didn't feel like we were in an attic. It felt real." All the time I've been talking to Rose has been sucking her hard ice pop, draining all the blue out of it. I suppose it felt different to other games, she admits. "But do you remember when I said I could fly? I got you all to come and watch. And it turned out it was just me jumping down the stairs, flapping my arms," she shrugs. "Kids have got big imaginations." That's exactly what I thought before I felt Grandad being pulled into the bed. I show her the marks on my hand where Grandad's nails dug in. And there's another thing. Just before he disappeared, Grandad basically said he believed that Raw was real. Rose laughs. "Arthur, this whole thing is a massive practical joke. I bet Grandad's had this planned for ages." "Grandad would never scare me like this." She raises one eyebrow. "Wouldn't he?" "No, he wouldn't." Rose shrugs like she couldn't care less what I think. "Suit yourself. I'm going to town. Mason says there's 3 for 2 on at Claire's. Before I went, I thought I'd check you hadn't banished too." And that's when I realise it's hopeless. If Rose is more bothered about hairbands and earrings than she is about Grandad, I don't want her to come with me. "Fine." I walk back to the camp bed, crouch down and roll up my sleeves. "Hear me roar," I mutter as I stick my head back into the mattress. "Ha," says Rose. I pull my head out and turn to look at her, eyes narrowed, and I'm in no mood to hear Rose's sarcastic howls. "What?" "Nothing. Only I never said hear me roar, because even when I was 5 I thought it was stupid. When I got into the middle of the mattress, I just shut my eyes and imagined Raw. Then when I came out the other side, I was there." She takes a long last suck on her ice pop, then turns to the door. "See you later, loser." Chapter 13. I pull my legs in behind me and crouch in the middle of the bed, just like before. Only this time, I don't bother with any magic words. Instead, I use Rose's technique. I close my eyes and I imagine Raw. It's hard to begin with. Raw is buried at the back of my mind. Some details like Wynn's hat and Croaky's voice are crystal clear, but most of it is hazy and muddled, like my memories of Nanny and the first house we ever lived in. But then something comes back to me, the feeling of holding a soft creature in my hand. This thing has got wings, and they're batting against my fingers. Furry. I'm holding a furry. I'm not sure exactly what a furry is, but suddenly I know there's loads of them in Raw. Then my mind is full of furries. I see them hovering like dragonflies and sunbathing on stones, and Raw comes rushing back to me as fast as the furries beating wings. I see me and Wynn standing on a ship, the Raven, and I feel the spray from the bottomless ocean stinging my eyes. I hear a shout to my left. "Get back before he burns your hair off!" And I turn to see Rose tossing bits of donut to hovering dragon. Croaky lands with a thump on the deck of the Raven. His black wings billow around him like clouds as he grips hold of my arms and hisses, "I've got you now, Arthur Trout." Keeping my eyes squeezed shut and my mind stuffed full of raw, I start to crawl further into the mattress. Left hand, right hand. I see Mitch, her blue hair trailing behind her, tangled and encrusted with shells. Left hand, right hand. I smell the bonfire and popcorn of Ninja's cave. Left hand, right hand. Somewhere at the back of my brain, I register that I should have fallen onto the attic floor by now, and this is taking far too long. But I push the thoughts away and picture Raw's night sky, crammed so far of stars, it looked like a bag of glitter and had been thrown across black velvet. There were millions of stars in Raw, blue, green, pink, purple, and their light was as warm as the sun. Those stars used to shine down on me and Rose when we were floating in Mitch's lagoon. They made patterns on our skin. I freeze, snapping back to where I am. But something has changed. My hands aren't pressing into a soft, spongy mattress anymore. They're touching something cold and hard. Holding my breath, I feel around. The mattress is gone. I'm kneeling on stone. Here it is, going through some sort of tunnel. Icy fear rushes through me. This is what I wanted to happen, wasn't it? I wanted to crawl into the camp bed and for something magical to happen. But now rock is digging into my hands and knees. I'm so scared, my whole body is shaking. I force myself to open my eyes. Thick blackness surrounds me, but far ahead, I can just make out a tiny pinprick of light. And the air isn't dusty anymore. It's cool and damp, and I can hear rushing water. I start to crawl towards the green light. My head scrapes against the roof of the tunnel, and rocks graze my hands. But I don't stop until I reach the very end, and the green light has become a curtain of leaves with light shining through it. Before I can change my mind, I push my head through the leaves and crawl out into the dazzling sunshine. I blink and rub my eyes. I'm on a narrow ledge. I lean forward and see that the ledge is set into a cliff and far below me is a deep, round pool. Trying to ignore the terrifying drop, I look straight ahead. I'm staring across a valley with a river winding through it. The river passes forests, mountains and glistering lakes. One side of the valley is bright and alive bursting with leaves and colour, while the other half is shadowy and barren. The river has a shifting, swirling rainbow shine on its surface, and it leads to a wild sea. Far, far away beyond the sea are snow-topped mountains. Gazing at this unbelievable sight, I should feel lost and scared, but I don't, because this is Raw. Wow, that's what you can see when he came through the river, the sea, the mountains, and the colour and the grey. Oh, interesting. Wow, that is very exciting. So he's finally made it to the land of Raw. Will he find Grandad? Will Rose come too? If you want to give me and Mr. Moss any predictions, write them down and post them on Seesaw. We'll have some more chapters later, but I really hope you enjoy that. It's getting a little bit exciting. I wonder what magical events they'll have in the land of Raw. Take care, Year 3, and we will catch up with you on our next Zoom call. Bye-bye.